Part 17. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 161. Chapter 161 Turn over the cards. Lu Tao is the best. Come on Leng Hui. On the contrary, it made it difficult for the host to say anything more. After all, Wei Shayan's answer was too cunning. Isn't it the point of asking her to talk about Lu Tao and Leng Hui? You can be drowned in the saliva of fans in just a few minutes. It's good to have sparks when hosting a show, but the most taboo thing is to really rank the participating artists into 3rd, 6th, or 9th grade. Therefore, even if everyone knows that Yexin Ling is more important than Lu Tao's group, it's hard for the host to say it more bluntly. What? She smiled very professionally, said a few words, and then turned to ask several other music producers to turn over the cards. Several people successfully turned over the candidates they were satisfied with, and the last one to turn over the cards was Feng Kun. He walked to the huge wooden tray in the middle of the stage and stood there, scanning the nameplates of dozens of singers on the tray. Who should I translate? In fact, this session is prepared in advance every year. The producer and the singer have already reached an agreement on who will be covered and who will not be covered. This time, the emperor prepared in advance Zheng Qinhao, a king-level singer who is as famous as Bai Murong. With him in charge of Feng Kun's team, half of the game was won before it even started. But now, Feng Kun hesitated. His eyes fell on a small nameplate with the words Yexin Ling engraved on it. Should I choose her? On the big screen behind him, dozens of star-like nameplates were projected, each representing a name that fans eagerly anticipated. Feng Kun's pensive expression was also magnified and photographed, which aroused many people's emotions. The suspense in my heart. Let's see, what choice will Feng Kun make? The host did not doubt that he was there, thinking that it was Feng Kun who was playing tricks on him. That was why he had not turned over the nameplate that had been determined for a long time. She smiled and said, Feng Kun seems to be hesitant. Is it because so many singers present are too good, which makes him feel embarrassed? In the dressing room, Xiaoling watched the broadcast screen with many participating singers. The deep thought between Feng Kun's brows made her heart skip a beat. No, he shouldn't choose her. Yexingling's identity is very different from his. No matter how you look at it, it has nothing to do with it. Two strangers, if he chose her, it only meant that he really had some suspicions about her. Xiaoling's slender white fingers unconsciously grasped the platinum ring pendant on her chest, as if the small pendant engraved with the letters Li gave her infinite power. Who will Feng Kun choose? The host was still adding to the atmosphere. Feng Kun, who was in the center of the stage, had woken up from his brief hesitation, smiled at the camera, raised his hand, and calmly selected the nameplate with the words Zheng Qinhao engraved on it. Of course it is the king who chooses our emperor. He raised the nameplate in his hand and said to everyone. When he first chose the nameplate, he thought a lot about it. In terms of both emotion and reason, it was inappropriate for him to choose Yexin Ling. Their reputations were too different, their ages, identities and even styles were too different. They were not from the same company, and they had no friendship. He had no reason to make others believe that he chose Yexin Ling not out of selfish motives. And his selfish intention was just to know what the relationship between Yexin Ling and Xiaoling was. Once he chose Yexin Ling, it would be fine if she had nothing to do with Xiaoling. If she really had anything to do with Xiaoling, she would definitely be wary, suspicious, and be extra careful to guard against him. What's more serious is that Chu Chen will also become suspicious and alert Pei Xian. Once this matter involves Pei Xian, even he, Feng Kun, can't protect her. If Xiaoling or someone related to Xiaoling is harmed due to this reason, the consequences will be disastrous. So, Feng Kun, who had thousands of thoughts running through his mind, still chose the singer who had been confirmed before the competition. As for Yexingling's identity, he will investigate, without alerting the enemy. Looking at his choice, Xiaoling breathed a sigh of relief. It was great. It was great not to be recognized by him. After a while, she shook her head and laughed at herself for being careless. How could Feng Kan think of such a shocking thing like rebirth? The conversation about Siren in the corridor before and the change of dressing room this time were all coincidences, they must be. Once she relaxed, she was in a good mood. She looked at the progress on the stage with a smile. The list of 6 singers whose names had been flipped had been determined. The remaining singers were randomly drawn under the operation of the computer to determine the audition numbers. The results of the draw were announced shortly after, and dozens of singers were randomly shuffled and rearranged according to the order of performance. On the big screen, the first one comes on, the second one comes on, and the order continues. Xiaoling looked at her order. She was in the 43rd place at the back of the middle. This kind of position can be said to be a prime position. It has been warmed up in advance. The producers have a rough grasp of the overall level of the contestants in this competition. They have already selected some singers, and there are still a few places left. Apart from the confusion and impatience at the beginning, and the end of the show when they don't pay much attention, her sequence is exactly when the producers are the most calm and know what they want best. Sister Maina, Bai Murong, and Xia Linlang came together to take a look. Not bad, Xiaoling, you're so lucky, Xia Linlang said with some envy, then showed a bright smile and patted Xiaoling. She was really happy for Xiaoling. In Tianyi, the relationship between the artists was very good. Maybe it was because Li Lei, the boss, was very tolerant. The atmosphere of the company was also relaxed and free. Every artist could find his or her own position. He has been helped by others and is willing to help others. There is rarely the kind of intrigue that occurs in other places. Xiaoling smiled, yeah, you're lucky. What about you? Everyone reported their order of appearance. Xia Linlang and Bai Murong are at the front, followed by Xu Wanyi in the middle, and Xiaoling is the last one. Do you want to change? Xu Wanyi asked everyone. In order to increase the suspense, interest, and topicality of the competition, after the computer automatically draws lots to sort out the order, singers can freely exchange their own serial numbers for other people's serial numbers. Each person can only exchange once. At this time, the host on the stage also announced this rule. Xiaoling said, I'm free to do it. Although she is a newcomer now, she has the strength of a queen in her bones. No matter how the order is arranged, she is confident that she can achieve good results. Xia Linlang and Xu Wanyi said, we are also free to do it. Bai Murong looked at Xiaoling, we have agreed to be on the same team. I will be in front of you. You must join the team I choose, which is more difficult. Do you want us to switch? You will play first. Then you will make your choice. Team, I will join again. He is the king, and what he did not say is that the team that is willing to choose him may not choose a newcomer like Xiaoling, but the team that is willing to choose Xiaoling will most likely accept him. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 162. Chapter 162 A Gift for Your Girlfriend. Xiaoling heard the hidden meaning, and her temper suddenly flared up as she refused to admit defeat. No, I can do it. Bai Murong looked at her suspiciously. Xiaoling glared at him, what are you looking at? She originally wanted to say that when she was still the queen, Bai Murong had to give way when he saw her. This is true, she was so popular back then. If Murong Zhengqinhao is a king, then she, Xiaoling, is a super queen. The other kings and queens will bow their heads when they see her. They met during a certain event that year, and it was Bai Murong who really stopped and gave way to her. But now, she couldn't say this. She wanted to act a little arrogant, but she didn't have any material to use, so she could only continue to be angry and glare at him seriously. Don't look down on people, Okay. I want to be a queen woman. Ha ha ha. Among the small group of people on Tianyi's side, Bai Murong and Xia Linlang all laughed, thinking that the little junior Ye Xingling was too cute. Xia Linlang couldn't help but touch her head. Be good, don't make trouble. Okay, okay, you are a woman who wants to be a queen. Xiaoling burst into tears. How come no one believed her when she told the truth? Bai Murong couldn't help but smile. Okay, then come on, I'll go first. Whether you can choose the same team as me depends on your hard work. He will try his best to choose a team that suits her. Moreover, it was good that she was assigned to him because of her strength. There was no rumor that he was deliberately protecting her. Sister Maina is right, if you want to praise someone, do it beautifully without leaving any excuse. On the stage, the audition officially began. There are 5 auditions in total, with about 10 people in each. In tonight's round, only the top 10 contestants will have their turn. Tianyi's only one is Xia Linlang. Xia Linlang is a lovable typhoon and has chosen a good team, giving everyone a good start. After the show, the group said goodbye and went home, chatting and laughing. Back to the apartment, the doorbell rang. Xiaoling went to open the door and found that it was Su Tang standing at the door. Beauty Su held large and small bags in her hands, with a perfect, almost cold smile on her face, and said politely to her, "Miss Ye, the young master asked me to give you something." Xiaoling stepped aside to let her in. She has been so busy lately. If it weren't for Su Tang's appearance, she almost forgot that she hadn't seen Li Lei for a long time. The last time we talked on the phone, he said that he was handling a business abroad. She didn't know how he was doing now. Su Tang put all the paper bags in the living room. Xiaoling asked, "What is it?" Su Tang said elegantly and coldly, "You can see for yourself. If there is nothing else, I will leave first." Regarding Xiaoling's promotion to Li Lei's girlfriend, Li Lei did not hide it from Su Tang. "I couldn't sleep all night long, and my face looked much more haggard than before, which I could barely hide with makeup." She looked at Xiaoling. The girl in front of her, who was casually wearing a pair of cotton slippers, with her hair held up in a fluffy way, and whose petite appearance could only be considered delicate, had become a thorn in her heart that could not be removed. She would bleed at the slightest touch. Dripping. She tried her best to restrain herself from showing any malicious look in her eyes. Xiaoling tilted her head. "It's okay, thank you." Perhaps it was a woman's sixth sense, but she always felt that Su Tang didn't particularly like her, but she couldn't explain why. Xiaoling didn't bother to speculate on Su Tang's thoughts. Fate is important between people. Since their personalities are incompatible, there is no need to forcefully close the distance. She bid farewell to Su Tang politely and squatted in the living room to open paper bags. Li Lei sent a lot of clothes, with soft and elegant colors, low-key and well-fitting tailoring. When you reach out and touch them, the touch is so beautiful that you will be intoxicated. She looked at the material label and saw a pullover spliced with top-quality mulberry silk and Scottish cashmere, an Egyptian cotton top and skirt, and a scabal tweed jacket. She was used to wearing good materials before and knew how rare they were. "Call Li Lei, you don't have to give me such an expensive gift." Although he is her boyfriend and indeed very rich, she always hopes that she can be independent and be equal to him. She can only rely on people's love, which is not what she wants. On the phone, Li Lei's voice was pleasant. "That's nothing, Xiaoling, you are my girlfriend. As long as it is something you like, I will be satisfied." Things I like, when had she ever said she liked these things? Although, she really liked them. "Have you forgotten?" He was still very happy. "When you first debuted, Sister Maina asked you which brands you liked, and you reported these two. Tan Ying was also present at the time and told me, so I paid attention." Down. When he said this, she remembered that this was indeed the case. "How do you know these two brands?" Li Lei asked with some curiosity. "They are European handmade brands that make customized high-end garments." Even I have never heard of them. Fortunately, Sutang helped me find them. Didn't Sister Maina know it? She knew it as soon as I told her, and she told me that it was too expensive and I couldn't wear it. She avoided the important and said, "It's not that hard to find. It's because you are ignorant." On the other end of the phone, Lele stood by the floor-to-ceiling glass window of the hotel's senior presidential suite, looking at the brightly lit night scene outside the window, his eyes darkening slightly. Xiaoling didn't say how she knew these two brands, but he checked these two brands and found that they were Xiaoling's favorite brands during her lifetime. Is it a coincidence? His brows furrowed tightly, and after a while he adjusted his mood and said to the other end of the phone, "Xiaoling, are you laughing at me for being stupid?" There was an aggrieved voice. Xiaoling sighed. After spending time together, she realized how much this man loves to act coquettishly. He would never give up without coaxing him a few words every day, and he had to patiently say a few soft words. I silently sighed in my heart. Why did I think he was dangerous and fierce when we first met him? An illusion, absolutely an illusion. He was made happy by her and hung up the phone with satisfaction. Xiaoling was lying on the bed tossing and turning, recalling many past events from the two signs, and suffered from insomnia for most of the night. The next day, Sister Maina saw the clothes she was wearing. "Hey, Xiaoling, aren't these clothes the same as last time? Xiaoling also likes these two brands. Not only do you sing a bit like her, but your taste is also quite similar. This is a gift from boss." "Wear whatever you want," Xiaoling said without confidence. She couldn't make people feel like she was in her previous life. She had been restless recently, as if she would be spotted at any time. It was too dangerous. Sister Mai smiled and shook her head. "Boss is the only one who happily pays for you, so cherish it," she added. "It's pretty good looking, and it really suits you, so just wear it like this. But, you and boss's love affairs must be kept strictly confidential, you know, otherwise, your acting career will be ruined." Xiaoling was silent for a moment with some melancholy before responding, "Well, I'll pay attention." In the memory, what fragments flashed through? "Xiaoling, don't kiss me like that in front of others, you should pay attention to your public image." That was Pei Xian's deep, magnetic, and majestic voice. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 163. Chapter 163, Traveling thousands of miles to see you. At that time, the little Xiaoling smiled and said, "What are you afraid of? I just like you and I don't care." The man reached out and caressed her cheek. "You promised me that you would become the world's top diva. If you get too close to me in public, there will be some scandal. Xiaoling, the target is me, your adoptee, you the boss of me. Those reporters can write any nasty things and it will ruin our agreement." Little Xiaoling was not very happy. She frowned and said, "Okay, keep a low profile, but you are not allowed to change your mind." "I won't change my mind." Look. Look. In a flash, the picture of that year was so clear. A beautiful little girl of 13 or 14 years old, wearing a soft and white princess dress, with bare feet, half sitting and half lying on a man's body. The man was lying on his side on the black leather sofa. Several buttons of his shirt and waistcoat with dark gold lines were unbuttoned, which was a bit messy. He held the little girl's waist with one hand, and hooked the little girl's fingers with his other hand. Xiaoling, his face was hidden in the sunset, and his voice was as rich as a whisper, "My most beautiful butterfly." She was immersed in memories for a long time and lost her mind. She had liked him since she was very young and learned to hide their relationship. But even though she worked so hard, she still lost him in the end, was betrayed, and ended up scarred all over. There were bursts of pain deep in her heart, and with a lang-dang sound, the water glass in her hand fell to the ground without holding it firmly. Sister Maina was startled. Xiaoling? Are you okay? Really, such a big person can't even hold the cup. She pulled Xiaoling back a few steps to avoid the area where the debris was splashed. Xiaoling was shocked and came back to her senses. Looking at the water stains, she felt cold all over. Your face has turned so pale all of a sudden, Sister Maina asked with concern. It's nothing. Looking at Sister Maina's worried eyes, she calmed down and said, it's probably because I have to catch up on announcements and prepare for the Xingyun song concert these days. I'm too tired. It should be fine if I take a rest. Sister Maina sent her back to the apartment, helped her into the bedroom and lay down, poured hot water for her, closed the door, and left. Xiaoling was in a daze for a long time while hugging the soft duvet. If her relationship with Li Lei was really exposed this time, would Li Lei really not care as he promised before? Does he really not mind that she is just a powerless civilian girl? And she has so many unbearable pasts. Is she worthy of him? Will one day dislike her? Just thinking about it makes my heart ache. As the sky gradually darkened, Li Lei called back, Xiaoling, what are you doing? Did you have a good meal today? Xiaoling was silent for a long time and said in a low voice, Li Lei, will there come a day when you don't like me anymore? On the other end of the phone, he was visibly startled, and then he breathed softly, what are you thinking about, silly boy? How could I not like you? We have agreed to last forever, forever. It's all lies. She thought of the misty sunset in her memory, and the fingers of the man and the little girl intertwined. Pain arose for the first time. She took a slight breath, curled up and bit her lip. Xiaoling. Li Lei's tone became worried, what's wrong with you? Are you feeling uncomfortable somewhere? Xiaoling was speechless. When the pain passed, she whispered, no. He asked, what happened today? It's nothing. She didn't want to say more. Li Lei was silent for a moment, and then said, Xiaoling, no matter what happens, I will stay with you. I will always be by your side. You are my lover and the partner I want to spend a lifetime with. We are in the same group, you know. She didn't speak, but the hazy light and shadow in her memory, as well as the little girl in a white princess dress in the sunset, gradually faded away, and the man's face gradually blurred, turning into countless blurry points of light and disappearing. She turned her head towards the phone and smiled, Li Lei, it's great to have you here. After talking on the phone with him for a while, sleepiness came over me and I fell asleep unconsciously. In her dream, she vaguely felt the bed beside her feel slightly heavier, and a warm embrace came up to her, hugging her gently. She moved, found a more comfortable position, and fell asleep. Early morning. Xiaoling opened her eyes drowsily, and she always felt that something was wrong. When she lowered her head, she saw that there was actually an arm on her waist. It was light brown, with well-proportioned muscles, like a sculpture made by a famous ancient Greek master. On the side of the neck, there was a familiar and long breath, with a little warmth, rising and falling rhythmically. She blinked in disbelief, turned around and looked, and sure enough, it was Li Lei. Li Lei seemed to be awakened by her movement, and he opened his eyes sleepily. He blinked several times before focusing on her, and saw clearly that it was her. He raised a big smile on his lips, good morning, my dear. Aren't you abroad? Xiaoling was confused and reached out to pinch him twice to see if he was dreaming. He shouted, it hurts. He grabbed her hand with his backhand and pulled her into his arms, I missed you, so I came back to see you yesterday. He heard on the phone that she was not in a good mood. He was very worried and rushed back overnight. It wasn't until he saw her sleeping soundly on the bed that he breathed a sigh of relief, so he also got on the bed and carefully hugged her to sleep. However, he would not tell her his worries. Xiaoling said, but Sutang said you were very busy during this period. The two places had been separated for a long time. Xiaoling asked Sutang about his situation abroad. Sutang said that Li Lei was very busy during this period, and his feet he didn't touch the ground, barely slept at all, and often forgot to eat. She suggested Xiaoling not to disturb him. Thinking of this, she looked at his eyebrows carefully. After not seeing him for nearly a month, he seemed to have lost some weight, and there were faint blue and black eyes under his eyes. It was unknown how many days he had not slept well, which made him look like this. What worries you so much? She touched his face and brushed her fingertips at the corners of his eyes. In her impression, he had always been calm and unhurried, as lazy as a leopard that had nothing to do but had enough to eat and drink, so Xiaoling had never thought that there would be times when he was so busy and haggard, which made people feel a little distressed. Li Lei smiled and looked at her tenderly with his gray-green eyes. Can't bear to part with you. No, she took her hand back and wanted to turn around and ignore him. He held her in his arms and prevented her from moving. He lowered his head and kissed her secretly. It's not a big deal, it's just a little complicated. It's all business on the road, involving fights. His little Ling is clean, so he doesn't want to know about it. Good. He spoke in an understatement, but the faint green and black under his eyes let Xiaoling know that things were far from easy. He is not a person who likes to worry. Even if he has a huge industry to take care of in the country, he has always been leisurely, lazy, and leisurely. You can imagine how difficult it is to have him do it all by himself and still work like this. Okay, Xiaoling, if you smile, you won't look good even if you frown, he said. She was still uneasy and doubtful, but his kisses had fallen, bit by bit on her eyebrows and forehead, completely taking away her thoughts. Xiaoling, he whispered, his voice turning hoarse. The lips went all the way down, turning and lingering, back and forth. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 164. Chapter 164. The Past and Pain. Her breathing gradually became faster, and her hands climbed onto his shoulders. It felt very solid, like climbing up a mountain in the wilderness. He was encouraged to unbutton her pajamas with one hand. Her brain was in a daze, catering to him, but some unsavory fragment flashed through her trance, overlapping with the scene in front of her. The huge villa in the memory, the hands handcuffed behind the back, the devilish man. With her heart trembling, Xiaoling regained some clarity from her sinking state. Li Lei, her breathing was unstable and intermittent. Don't do this. By this time, Li Lei could no longer hear anything, and his movements gradually became more intense. The feeling of panic and uneasiness grew endlessly in Xiaoling's heart, and the fragments in her memories became clearer and clearer. The same was true for the demonic man. No, she turned pale and suddenly screamed, desperately reaching out to push Li Lei. I don't know how much strength she used, but by the time she reacted, she had already broken away from him. She was so frightened that she stepped back on her hands and knees until her thin back was pressed against the cold wall. Xiaoling, don't come here. She looked at him fearfully, and even her voice changed. Li Lei's eyes flashed with hurt, but he stopped trying to get closer to her. His clothes were disheveled, and the confusion in his eyes had not faded away, but he used his strong self-control to restrain himself from doing anything to hurt her. Why? He asked hoarsely. Why was it that when they were fine just now, she suddenly pushed him away in fear? Xiaoling didn't know how to answer. She lowered her head and didn't dare to look at him. She knew he didn't mean any harm, he just liked her so much that she couldn't help it. They were already lovers, and it was natural that what happened would happen, but something went wrong, and the one who made the mistake was not him, but her. She couldn't control her body, couldn't overcome the inner rejection and fear at that moment. That feeling was branded into the depths of her soul by the devilish man, indelible and unforgettable. This frightened her deeply. Xiaoling, there was worry in his tone. I'm fine, let me stay by myself for a while, she said softly, hugging herself tightly. If you don't want to, I won't force you. His voice came, very low and slow, we want to spend a lifetime together, and I will wait until the day you are willing. After saying that, he stood up and walked out of the bedroom. The surroundings became quiet, a dark cloud blocked the morning sun, and the light in the room became dark. Xiaoling remained motionless, the heat of her body cooling down little by little in the air. She recalled what Pei Ziyan said at that time. Xiaoling, you want to escape? It's impossible. Your body will always remember me and only recognize me. Is this Stockholm Syndrome? After experiencing that kind of twisted whipping, confinement and love, could she really only recognize Pei Ziyan? She would reject and resist any other man who touched her? Even if the body has been changed in another life, the soul is still deeply imprinted? She didn't dare to think about it anymore. She huddled up in a small ball in her bedroom, trembling, and sat quietly all day. When it got dark, she was so scared that she couldn't see her fingers. She dragged her numb legs and staggered to turn on the light, only to realize that Lilei was already gone. In the living room, the window was half open, letting in a cool breeze. But the remaining smell of smoke cannot be blown away. She had never seen him smoking, but now, a crystal plate on the coffee table was full of cigarette butts. There was a small note under the plate. I'm leaving, and I may not be able to return to the country during this time. Take care of yourself and call me if you miss me. The fragrant and slightly bitter smell of smoke remained on the note, which was stronger than in the air, as if it was tinged with a touch of sadness. This incident made Xiaoling feel very depressed, and she was listless in the following rounds of auditions. Sister Maina couldn't stand it any longer and asked her to talk. Xiaoling, what's going on with you recently? Are you in such a bad state? It wasn't your turn to take the stage in the first few games, and it will be your turn in the next one. If you are still like this, how can you compare with other singers in this situation? I will adjust, Xiaoling said wistfully. Sister Maina frowned and asked, what's going on? Things have been going well at work recently. Did you have a quarrel with the boss? That kind of private thing could not be said anyway. Xia Yan shook his head. He is good. Avoid Sister Mana and forced herself to concentrate on work. Sister Maina has nothing to do. Seeing her working so hard, it's hard to blame her. For several nights, Xiaoling had nightmares. When she closed her eyes, she remembered the fear and pain she had experienced in the dark confinement room. She often woke up in the middle of the night and kept her eyes open until dawn. She was emaciating at a speed visible to the naked eye. Why is my skin so dry lately? It's hard to put makeup on. The last audition of the Xingyun Singing Club finally arrived. In the dressing room, the makeup artist said reproachfully while helping Xiaoling apply makeup, it was so bad the past few times. I've reminded you to sleep well and hydrate. It's good now. You can only wear a light, natural makeup. Otherwise, if it is too thick, the powder will fall off as soon as the camera is zoomed in. You can think about how much it will cost you. Xiaoling didn't have the strength to argue with him. Besides, what he said was reasonable, so she listened to his chattering silently. Sister Mai Na and Bai Murong looked around and sighed. They had calculated everything and created the most perfect external conditions and opportunities for her. The only thing they didn't calculate was that Xiaoling had also recently, I don't know what's wrong, but my condition is very bad. Period. Bai Murong pulled Sister Maina and whispered, it's too long. Sister Maina gave him a sharp look, your whole family is on their period. Bai Murong also felt that it was unreliable, so he touched his nose and stopped talking. According to the situation, now we can only resign ourselves to fate and hope that Xiaoling can perform better and not make too big a mistake. However, it's just the audition stage, and the ranking is so good, it should be no problem. Xiaoling didn't know their worries. After putting on makeup, she got up and went to the bathroom. The corridor was winding and long, intertwined like a maze. As she walked, she suddenly heard a man talking at the corner in front of her. "Come on, little beauty Luoluo, don't be shy, touch me." End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 165. Chapter 165 The Battle to Save Luoluo. Lolo. This name made Xiaoling pause, and then she sped up and rushed towards the corner. In that secluded corner, there was indeed a man grabbing Luoluo with a lustful look on his face, and groping her body irregularly with one hand. Luoluo struggled desperately, her eyes were red, and she cried, "Let me go. Mr. Zhao, I am not the kind of person you think." "No," Mr. Zhao laughed lewdly, "stop pretending, I don't like playing hard to get tricks, let's be simple and direct. Little slut, didn't you ask Xiaoyu to help you find a backer? Xiaoyu told me, don't worry, as long as you serve me well, Xingyunji will make you extremely popular this time." Why is Xiaoyu involved again? Xiaoling was stunned at first, and then she understood after thinking about it for a moment. Luoluo must have offended Xiaoyu at some point. With Xiaoyu's dark temperament, she might have coaxed a pervert to come and take revenge on Luoluo. After thinking about this, Xiaoling exploded instantly. It was so unreasonable that they dared to bully their friends like this. "Let her go," Xiaoling shouted loudly, rushed forward, grabbed Mr. Zhao's hand and threw him away. Mr. Zhao was frightened by her scolding, and he was actually thrown away by her without warning. He took a few steps back and almost fell into the mud. He finally stood firm and saw that the person running away from him was a slender and delicate girl. How could he keep his face? He couldn't help but become angry. "Who do you think you are, meddling in other people's business? Get out, or I'll call someone." Xiaoling protected Luoluo with one hand and took out her phone with the other. Her cold, sharp gaze made Mr. Zhao's heart tremble. It was strange. She was obviously just a young girl, but what was with that cold aura on her body? So cold and arrogant and natural, as if there is nothing she can't do. Mr. Zhao was afraid that she was really annoying, so he glared at her. "You two little bitches, just wait, you'd better not fall into my hands." Watching him leave, Xiaoling breathed a sigh of relief. Luoluo threw herself into her arms and cried loudly, "Xiaoling, I'm so scared." While she was crying, she told Xiaoling about her experience. She was walking in the corridor and suddenly someone, after being dragged to this corner, Mr. Zhao said a lot of nonsense to her and threatened to take action. "Fortunately you're here, woo woo woo," Luoluo cried out of breath, "otherwise I don't know what to do." Xiaoling asked her, "The person just mentioned Xiaoyu, have you offended Xiaoyu recently?" Ah, Luoluo was stunned, and after thinking about it for a long time, his expression suddenly became complicated. "It seems, last time when we changed the dressing room, I was very happy to see you. After talking to you for a while, I accidentally noticed that Sister Xiaoyu looked at me. One look, that look, I can't even put my finger on it, it's so scary." "That's it?" Xiaoling smiled bitterly. It seemed that she had implicated Luoluo. Xiaoyu was too resentful towards her and took it out on the innocent Luoluo. "Then who is this Mr. Zhao?" she asked. "Mr. Zhao," Luoluo showed a look of disgust, "he is from the TV station and is responsible for the resurrection competition after the audition. In the previous rounds of auditions, more than a dozen people were screened, plus the final round tonight. It is estimated that there will be nearly 20 people going to the resurrection competition. These people will be responsible for arranging the order of appearance, the repertoire, etc. Then Mr. Zhao's power is not too small. No wonder he thought Luoluo wanted to find a backer." Xiaoling has been immersed in her own emotions these days and has not paid attention to the current progress of the audition. At this time, she remembered and asked Luoluo, "Have you passed the audition?" Me, Luoluo was about to cry again when he mentioned this. The serial number was changed to me, which is number 54, the last one to come on the stage. Even so, she still asked Mr. Zhao to harm me. Oh. What? Luoluo is the last one to come on the stage. Xiaoling feels that the situation is a little bad. Who knows if the producers have selected all the players for the last one? The worst case scenario is that all the teams are full, and the last one will not have a chance to compete at all, and will be directly included in the resurrection match. In the resurrection competition, there are nearly 20 players, but only one can be resurrected. The elimination rate is astonishingly high. Xiaoling looked at the girl who was crying sadly on her body. How many grievances had she suffered from the emperor? Xiaoyu, also a newcomer, could change her serial number whenever she wanted, but she could do nothing but cry. No, Lolo must not be allowed to enter the resurrection match. Luoluo's character is too pure and kind. Moreover, the resurrection competition is extremely dangerous, and Mr. Zhao is eyeing her. That's all, she was the one who caused this matter. If Luoluo hadn't been close to her, Xiaoyu wouldn't have cared about Luoluo. Xiaoling pondered in her heart and said to Luoluo, okay, don't cry anymore. Do you know who the second to last player is, the one who plays before you? Wang Jun, what's wrong? Luoluo looked at her with tears in his eyes, puzzled. It's nothing, just asking. Xiaoling rubbed her head, go back quickly. You see your makeup is ruined. Go and touch it up and try to pass the audition stage in one go. I'm going to the bathroom. It's time to play. Ah, okay. Unlike Xiaoling, Luoluo had paid attention to Xiaoling's ranking very early and knew that she was at number 47 and was about to appear. She was afraid of delaying Xiaoling's business, so she hurriedly said goodbye and left. Xiaoling did not go to the bathroom. After confirming that Luoluo ran away without a trace, she turned around and looked for Wang Jun. When Wang Jun heard about her intention, he was surprised. It's always the poor numbers who want to change to good numbers. You have such a good number and will be on the field soon. Why do you want to change to my penultimate number? There is no difference between the second to last number and the first to last number. They are both unlucky numbers that may be directly assigned to the resurrection game. Xiaoling said, don't worry about it. Do you want to change it? Timing was urgent. There was no shop like this after passing through this village. It would be a not to take advantage of it, so Wang Jun decisively changed his number with her. Xiaoling saw with her own eyes that he came on stage with her own number, and then she breathed a sigh of relief. It was great. It was changed to the penultimate number. As long as all 6 producers did not have quotas, and the last 2 numbers were assigned to the resurrection competition, she would have a chance to protect Luoluo. She originally wanted to change her account number directly to Luoluo, which would have a greater safety factor. However, Luoluo had already changed her number once with Xiaoyu and lost the chance to change it again, so she could only settle for the next best thing. Hope everything will go well, she prayed silently in her heart. Taking the exchanged serial number, she walked back to the dressing room and opened the door. Everyone in Tianyi looked at her with strange expressions. Yixingling, you are crazy. Sister Maina rushed up first and pointed angrily at the man singing on the broadcast screen. What did you do? Why did you give your number to Wang Jun? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 166. Chapter 166. She is my good sister. Xiaoling was only focused on helping Luoluo just now and forgot that there was a group of people at Tianyi who had high hopes for her. However, it was too late to say anything now. Wang Jun had already come to power, and the deal was already done and could not be changed. Furthermore, even if she was given another chance, she would choose to help Luoluo, knowing that everyone in Tianyi would be angry. Luoluo is her friend, and she can't just watch her friend fall into the clutches of a pervert, jeopardizing her innocence and future. I'm sorry, Sister Maina, everyone. She lowered her head and apologized sincerely to everyone. I made the decision to change the serial number to Wang Jun without authorization. I had no choice but to do this. What's the last resort? Sister Maina laughed angrily. This was the first time she was so angry after the two had been together for so long. You definitely don't want to go to the resurrection match. Xiaoling remained silent. Sister Maina's face gradually changed. Do you really want to go to the Easter match? Oh my god, what are you crazy about? I'm sorry, everyone, Xiaoling said again. She couldn't tell everyone the reason, otherwise everyone would point their fingers at Luoluo. Luoluo had just debuted and couldn't bear the censure and pressure of so many big stars and agents. However, she did not expect that Luoluo would come over. Her small figure squeezed into the crowd of Tianyi, and looked at Xiaoling in disbelief and weeping. Xiaoling, you are doing it for me, right? That's why you asked Wang Jun to change. You have to protect me, who is the last one to appear. She was innocent, but not stupid. When she saw Wang Jun appear on the stage, she understood everything after thinking about it. The Emperor and Tianyi where she worked shared a dressing room, and she saw clearly the disputes on Tianyi's side. At this moment, Luoluo felt extremely guilty. It was all her fault that Xiaoling had ended up in this situation. Sister Maina frowned and asked Luoluo what was going on. Before Xiaoling could stop her, Luoluo had already explained the cause and effect as if pouring beans from a bamboo tube. After hearing these words, everyone fell silent, and even the anger in Sister Maina's brows disappeared a bit. They are all a group of people who value friendship. Ask yourself, if your friends encounter such a thing, they will probably make the same choice as Xiaoling. As for your reputation, points, and the company's expectations, there are priorities. So that's it. Xu Wanyi spoke first, acting as the peacemaker. Since things have reached this point, it's useless to say anything now. Sister Maina, don't be angry. Let's think about what to do next. Sister Maina stared at Luoluo coldly. I have been watching the whole audition process. I remember that you changed numbers with Xiaoyu before, and moved Xiaoyu to a better ranking in the front. You took what you should have. She was the last one. There were media reports at the time that you were good friends and had a deep love for each other. Ha, you have such a deep love for each other and you came to trick Xiaoling after you made sacrifices for Xiaoyu. That's not the case. Luoluo was so anxious that she almost cried. Xiaoyu and I are not good sisters at all. This child spoke loudly when he was excited and couldn't control his volume. Everyone in the dressing room heard him, and all the emperors also looked over. Luoluo was still unaware. It was Mr. Chu who asked me to change it to Sister Xiaoyu. He said it was arranged by the company. Xiaoling is my good sister. How could I take the initiative to change such a good number to an outsider and then cheat Xiaoling? Who are you calling an outsider? A gloomy voice interrupted. Everyone turned around and saw that it was Chu Chen. At this time, he stared at Luoluo with an unkind expression. Don't forget your identity. As an artist of the Emperor, you actually said that the Emperor's seniors are outsiders and the artists of the rival company are good sisters. Luoluo choked. Don't lecture people in front of me. Xiaoling protected Luoluo behind her and looked directly at Chu Chen. Chu Chen, who do you think you are? It's in vain that the industry calls you a gold medal agent. You do this unscrupulously. Do you have any shame in forcing a newcomer to give her good serial number to an artist you bring? Face, Chu Chen looked at Xiaoling and smiled meaningfully. Ms. Yeah, you have always wanted face, so you were stupid enough to ignore the hard work of so many of you in Tianyi and take the initiative to change the serial number to someone else. Our emperor is different. Artists are obedient and obey the company's arrangements. Have you ever heard of Tianji racing? What's wrong with giving the best horse the biggest advantage? So, you are going to sacrifice Luoluo, Xiaoling said coldly. Sacrifice, Chu Chen smiled and shook his head, it's just to give newcomers a chance to experience. Experience your master, Sister Maina couldn't help shouting, get out. Chu Chen stopped wasting time with them and left calmly with a winner's smile. Over there, in front of the emperor's long row of makeup mirrors, a girl wearing a pale pink floor-length gauze dress sat elegantly, looking at the dispute on Tianyi's side through the makeup mirror with a pair of slightly gloomy eyes, looking at the dispute carefully. A happy smile appeared on his carved face. Yexinling, I never thought you would be here today. The penultimate number is just waiting to participate in the resurrection match. Xia Yu's heart was filled with vicious pleasure. She didn't expect that she could have such an unexpected gain by forcibly asking Luoluo for a serial number and designing the scene where Mr. Zhao. Ha ha ha, Yexinling, go to hell. She stretched out her hand gracefully and spread another layer of powder on her face. Although Chu Chen was blown away, the pressure on Tianyi's side was very low. The matter of sorting was like a big stone weighing heavily on everyone's hearts. They silently prayed that the team of 6 producers must not be full in advance. Be sure to leave a spot for Xiaoling and Luoluo. Perhaps their prayers had an effect, and in the end, 2 places were actually left. One is Feng Kun's team, and the other is Zhang Yaren's team. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. As long as Xiaoling can be selected by Feng Kun and Luoluo can be selected by Zhang Yaren, everything will be fine. However, they soon became entangled again. Feng Kun's selection standards were not low. Is Xiaoling really able to do it? If you are not selected by Feng Kun, you can actually try Zhang Yaren's team. However, once Xiaoling chooses Zhang Yaren, then, because Luoluo and Feng Kun are both from the emperor, Luoluo will not be able to join Feng Kun's team. It can only be reduced to the Easter match. Xiaoling, you must work hard. If Zhang Yaren is the only one who chooses you, go to her team and leave me alone, Luoluo took Xiaoling's hand and said seriously. The quota for the audition is very precious, which means that you can continue to participate in the following competitions, advance all the way to become famous, and if you lose here and fail to pass the resurrection competition, then this year's singing journey will end here. For newcomers, for a singer, the loss is not just 1 or 2 points. Luoluo was very grateful to Xiaoling and she kept this friendship in her heart, but she didn't want Xiaoling to sacrifice too much for her. Xiaoling smiled lightly and went on stage. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 167. Chapter 167 A surprising song. This time she took the stage was different from every time she took the stage. In the past, she sang the most heartwarming songs with the most dazzling gesture, but this time, the accompaniment sounds. Under the illumination of countless lights and in the eyes of countless audiences and media, Xiaoling raised the microphone, la 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 la, the love I want is like a little duck, quack quack quack. In the dressing room backstage, everyone at Tianyi, including Luoluo, went crazy. What the is this? Sister Maina gritted her teeth, when did she change the song? No, I didn't pay attention. Xia Linlang couldn't bear to look at her. It seems that she really deliberately chose to choose this kind of song with lyrics and music that are not very good at a certain level, and it doesn't match her style at all. Luoluo's look was full of guilt. On the stage, Xiaoling was still singing and dancing, call me dear, quack quack quack, and let's look at the moon together, la 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 la. This is a lively and plain song, Without anything, the special technique is not very good, and there is no distinguishing feature. It does not reflect the singer's strengths in the first place. What's more, Xiaoling has been in a low mood during this period, and her whole state is different from this song. In line with this, there is no need to put on any special pretense, and it just sings in a scripted way without care and rigidity. She wore light makeup, which was completely different from the exaggerated style and looked even more boring. Sister Maina was so angry that she clenched her fists and unclenched her hands. This girl was so out of tune. There were still 2 spots in the team, so why did she use her 100% singing skills to try to get into Feng Kun's team? With her ability to be favored by Wei Shaiyin, Feng Kun will not look down on her. She really lost the election on purpose. Xia Linlang covered her eyes. Bai Murong was not happy either. It's best if she can give us a reasonable explanation after she steps down. Otherwise, I suggest that the company replaces it with someone else. Before, he could understand Xiaoling's desire to help Luo Luo, but she could obviously strive for Jin Feng Kun's team. Why didn't she even fight for it? She has already let everyone down by changing her serial number, now she wants to let her down again. Sister Mai Na took a deep breath, and then another deep breath, and a sentence came out from between her teeth, I understand. If Xiaoling can't give you a reasonable explanation this time, I will suggest that the company reallocates resources and gives them to people who can produce better results. So what if Xiaoling is Li Lei's girlfriend? In Tianyi, the iron rule is not to show favoritism, and even Li Lei has always abided by it. Anyway, he can afford to support her. Sister Maina feels that she is simply too conscientious, even to this point, and she even considers for Xiaoling whether her boyfriend can afford it. She sighed deeply and leaned back in her chair. In the other half of the dressing room, Xiaoyu was pointing at the screen and covering her mouth with a smile. What is Ye Xingling doing? Why did she choose this song? This taste, ugh, she sighed faintly, what a pity, it turns out that she can't help herself on the stage. Chu Chen looked at the broadcast screen, but frowned, always feeling that something was wrong. There were obviously 2 places, why didn't she fight for Feng Kun? Could it be that Ye Xingling didn't want to be associated with the emperor's people, even if that person was Feng Kun, who was well known in the circle? His expression became thoughtful. On the stage, Xiaoling was very satisfied with her performance. There were 6 producers in front of her. Each producer's high-backed chair faced her. If they thought she sang well, the producer would turn around. Represents recognition and choice. But until now, among the 6 music producers, except for Wei Shaiyin who had to turn around to support her own artist, none of the other 5 chairs had moved. Even Wei glared at her with a look of looming anger. Xiaoling suspected that if it weren't for the rules of the competition that he couldn't rush forward to hit someone or yell at them, Wei would have gone crazy long ago. It's a pity that Wei didn't have a spot to choose her. The worse his face looks, the happier she is, proving how successful she is singing. Little duck, quack quack, little duck, la la la. She smiled broadly at Wei. There was a ding sound, and the second chair turned around. Xiaoling was so frightened that she almost forgot her words, but it was Feng Kun who turned around. All the media and audiences in the audience, as well as all the artists in the dressing room, were shocked. Did Brother Feng press the wrong button, and caused her embarrassment for a long time? It is an unwritten rule of Xingyun Song Club that when producers meet their own artists, regardless of whether they have a quota or whether they can be selected, they must turn around to prove that their artists are the best and that they support their own artists. But it happened that Feng Kun broke this rule at this Xingyun Song concert. When Xiaoyu sang, Feng Kun did not turn around from beginning to end, which made Xiaoyu laugh at the media and anti-fans for a long time. Although he explained to the outside world that it was to temper newcomers and help Xiaoyu avoid arrogance and impatience and go further on the road to stardom, this statement was too official. Xiaoyu knew full well that Feng Kun did not like him. Why? He was so kind to his sister back then, but he was like this to himself. Xiaoyu was resentful. At this moment, when she saw that he turned away from Yezingling's poor song, she was even more jealous. Could it be that in Feng Kun's eyes, she was not even as good as that trash woman and trash song? Brother Chu. Xiaoyu raised her head and looked at Chu Chen pitifully, with tears in her eyes. Chu Chen frowned and thought about something. He was also wondering why Feng Kun turned around. And why, when the girl named Ye Xingling saw him turning around, she didn't seem happy at all. Little duck, little duck, little duck. With great difficulty, Xiaoling finished singing this song. She breathed a sigh of relief thankfully. Fortunately, except for the two great gods Wei Shaiyin and Feng Kun, none of the remaining four music producers turned around. After the song ended, the organizer controlled the backstage and turned the four producers around to face her. Seeing the faint disdain on their faces, she felt even more relieved. The host came on the stage and said to the 7 people on the stage, "This song by Ye Xingling is really special. What makes me more curious is that Wei and Ye Xingling are from the same company, and they turned around and supported many normal. What about you, Feng Kun? Why did you turn around after listening to it halfway? Do you think Ye Xingling sang this song well?" Everyone is eagerly awaiting Feng Kun's answer. After all, the song Little Duck sung by classmate Ye Xingling is really, well, amazing. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 168. Chapter 168. It's inevitable to win. Feng Kun took his time. Actually, this song disappointed me. Everyone is speechless. Brother Feng, I am very disappointed. You still choose her? We are all very disappointed. Wei Shaiyin was furious. My little Ling Lun doesn't have you to comment on whether I am disappointed or not. Feng Kun smiled slightly and looked at Wei Shaiyin. That's the problem. Ye Xingling's voice is actually very good. I wonder if you've noticed that she can sing a lot of subtle and complex songs that other singers can't. Level. What does I don't know if you have discovered it mean? Wei Shaiyin was not only furious but also crazy. Feng Kun, what do you mean? Are you questioning my quality as a music producer? Xiaoling, don't I know how excellent her voice is? He said coldly, of course Xiaoling has a good voice. So, why did you, Tianyi, choose such a song for her? Feng Kun's tone sounded gentle and sincere, but very cunning. Such a talented singer was ruined by the song in vain. If it were replaced by I believe Ye Xingling can show a completely different style in a song. So, Ye Xingling, he looked at Xiaoling and said, I hope you can join my team, and I will create the best song for you. A song for you. Wei Shaiyin stopped competing with Feng Kun this time and continued to glare hard at Xiaoling. He clearly remembered that she shouldn't have appeared in this order, and she shouldn't have sang this song. What happened backstage just now, and how could it turn into this situation? However, he could only silently bear the blame for Little Duck. Can't you tell everyone that this was not the original plan? Wei Shaiyin was very irritable and depressed. She glared at Xiaoling one after another. Xiaoling kept a perfect smile, pretending she didn't see his dissatisfied eyes, and faced Feng Kun with all her energy. She raised the microphone and showed the respect a new singer should have for her senior gold medal producer. Thank you, Brother Feng. In fact, I don't think it was a waste for me to sing this song. It's quite cute, although it's not. It requires too much skill, but for music, skill is only secondary. The most important thing is the heart, right? She was telling lies with her eyes open. What skills and true intentions were all complained by Wei Shaiyin before. His fault was mainly that the songs Feng Kun created for Xiaoling were too gorgeous and showy, and did not pay attention to complexity. The transmission of emotion. Xiaoling had heard him complain so many times that she knew the speech by heart, and she was very comfortable using it now. Wei Shaiyin's originally gloomy face became slightly better when he saw her repeating what he had said before. When I thought about it, it was wrong. Now is not the time to talk about right and wrong. The top priority is to let her join Feng Kun's team. Feng Kun is the only music producer who wants to recruit her, so she can only join his team. Is it really okay to offend her future team leader by making such remarks? Wei Shaiyin started to go crazy again. Feng Kun was still very gentle, come to my team and I will respect your true intentions. No, to everyone's surprise, Xiaoling refused, thank you for choosing me, brother Feng, but I can't join your team. You are not my choice. She's crazy. In the dressing room, Xiaoyu was envious, jealous, and very angry. Is she an idiot for rejecting Feng Kun? Why, the recognition that she couldn't get even after working so hard was called Yasin Can I a stinky woman refuse without a care. The audience and media watching the live broadcast also went crazy. Is this a stunt arranged by the organizer? That's right, how could anyone reject Feng Kun? However, Xiaoling really refused seriously. She looked at Feng Kun with firm eyes. Feng Kun, can I ask why? His words also revealed the thoughts of thousands of onlookers. Xiaoling said, Brother Feng, I remember you once said that I sing like the late Queen Xiaoling. Feng Kun nodded. Not long ago, he said similar words to her when he mentioned Siren. Xiaoling said, but I don't think so. Brother Feng, I told you that day that maybe becoming Xiaoling's second is a dream of many people, but it is not mine. This is the reason why I rejected you. The implication is that she is worried that Feng Kun, the former Xiaoling's music producer, will turn her into Xiaoling's second best. Everyone was excited inside and outside the venue. How could this newly debuted singer dare to say such a thing? Blatantly provoking Queen Xiaoling. Feng Kun said she looks like Xiaoling, she should be honored. What does it mean to be so dissatisfied? Does she really think of herself as a big deal? Boos arose. In the dressing room backstage, Sister Maina was so angry that she almost threw the cup. What kind of bad temper is she? Telling the truth makes your temper depend on time and place. She rejected Feng Kun and offended a lot of diva fans. What's the benefit? Xia Linlang and others quickly comforted Sister Maina. On the stage, Feng Kun was slightly surprised. Is this the reason? Is this a real reason, or is it an excuse she came up with because she didn't want to join his team? His eyes dimmed and he fell into deep thought. The host said, Yasin Ling, you have to think clearly. Apart from Wei Shaiyin, Feng Kun is the only one who will turn around for you. If you refuse to join his team, you will have no choice but to be eliminated and go to the resurrection competition. I choose to participate in the resurrection match, she said firmly. Click click. Countless flashlights lit up, capturing her standing in the center of the stage with her head raised proudly. Her silver-white shiny satin dress fluttered slightly in the ventilation on the stage, like an arrogant princess. Arrogant, too arrogant. What she rejected was Feng Kun, the best producer in the industry. And she is just a newcomer. Brother Feng, how do you feel now? The host was afraid that the world would not be in chaos. To be honest, I'm a little bit shocked. Feng Kun smiled bitterly, and then changed the topic. However, it is understandable that any artist who is truly proud and pursuing will not want to be said to be someone's third. Second. Yasin Ling, I apologize for what I said before. The whole audience was in an uproar. What, with Feng Kun's status, he actually wanted to apologize to this new singer who had just debuted. Xiaoyu gritted her teeth tightly. How could this happen? How could that stinky woman be worthy of letting a big man bow his head? However, she then laughed faintly. Yasin Ling, can she really bear this apology? Brother Feng is actually trying to harm her. When he apologizes, doesn't it make Yasin Ling look more arrogant and defiant? Brother Feng must be I want to take revenge on her. However, What she didn't expect was Feng Kun's next words, then, "Can you think again and join my team?" This was the real purpose of his apology, to block all Xiaoling's excuses and force her to "you must win." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 169. Chapter 169, Pig Teammate's Amazing Assist. Xiaoling's whole body was not feeling well. She had thought of reasons to reject him, but she couldn't think of how to deal with the current situation. No matter what, there was no way that Feng Kun would apologize to her and invite her again. Everyone in the industry said that Feng Kun was smooth and flawless in everything he did. She used to be proud of him, but now when he used this trick on herself, Xiaoling almost cried. She blinked her eyes, showing a bit of innocence and confusion. Just as she was racking her brains to think of how to refuse, Wei Shaiyan on the side had already said, "Since Feng Kun is so sincere, Xiaoling, just agree." Xiaoling really cried this time. "Big brother, brother Wei, I told you that you were a pig teammate when I first met you. How come you can be so perfect every time? This is simply a great assist from the pig teammates." There was still hope of rejecting it, but I suppressed it with such a weighty sentence. If she continues to refuse, she will be disobeying the two top producers in the industry, and she is too ignorant. It's also too far-fetched, too deliberate, and too abnormal. She was afraid that Feng Kun would see something wrong, or even be suspected by Chu Chen, so she had no choice but to agree. Feng Kun finally breathed a sigh of relief and finally pulled her into his team. Next, he had the opportunity to investigate and see if the similarity between this girl and Xiaoling was a coincidence or was there really any relationship. Xiaoling returned to the backstage dejectedly. Despite all the calculations, she still couldn't escape Feng Kun. Tianyi Zhong was very happy and felt that Wei had done a great good thing. "It's a good thing we have Wei," said Sister Maina, "otherwise I don't know how big a mess the stinky girl is going to make." Seeing Xiaoling walk in, she pinched her cheek angrily. "What's wrong with you? Don't like Feng Kun that much?" Bai Murong, Xia Linlang, Xu Wanyi, and others all looked at Xiaoling. Xiaoling was in a low mood. She was silent for a moment and said, "I'm sorry everyone, I'm afraid you really have to be replaced this time. You are assigned to Feng Kun's team. I'm not sure you can perform well." "Why?" Xia Linlang was puzzled. "Xiaoling, do you really have a grudge against Feng Kun? The matter between me and Xiaoyu was so big before. Do you think that Feng Kun, as Sister Xiaoyu's royal partner and has even written songs for Xiaoyu, really doesn't hold a grudge at all?" Xiaoling racked her brains. "Think of the most reasonable explanation, the entire emperor is not friendly to me. Sister Linlang, Sister Wanyi, and Brother Bai. I only want to protect myself this year." Sister Maina reacted at this time, taking, was Xiaoling worried that Feng Kun had brought her into the team for revenge? "That's why you tried every possible means to avoid it?" "Perhaps, there is a deeper reason that cannot be said." Sister Mai Na thought of the emperor's stalking of Xiaoling and Pei Xian's dirty thoughts towards her, and suddenly felt that it might not be a good idea to let her join Feng Kun's team. Idea? However, that's the end of the matter. Sister Maina nodded. "Forget it, it's enough for you to protect yourself during this Xingyun song concert. We will reformulate our strategic plan, and the new talents we want to promote this year will be Lu Tao and Leng Hui." "I'm really sorry for everyone," Xiaoling apologized softly. Xia Linlang sighed loudly. "Really, Xiaoling, you can waste such a good opportunity for you, and I will accept it. However, I seem to have remembered that you did have a problem with Xiaoyu, and I am afraid that the emperor revenge is understandable. Forget it, just change the favor. Just be careful. Tianyi is a company with a good atmosphere. After being frustrated for a while, everyone got over it and reformulated the plan, making Lu Tao and Leng Hui's combination the focus of this year. Regarding such changes, Sister Mai Na specially called Li Lei to explain. Li Lei called Xiaoling, "Is it okay? I can order them to continue to praise you." Xiaoling asked blankly, "Didn't you say that Tianyi's mechanism is transparent and fair, and there is no shady secrets, boss? Is it really okay for you to give such a direct order?" Li Lei smiled lightly, "It depends on who is right." "Okay." Xiaoling's confusion all turned into emotion. "However, no, I don't want to have privileges. It's not easy for Sister Meina and Lu Tao Lenghui in her previous life, she had enjoyed too many privileges. In the end, she was hated by others and pushed everyone away. When she learned that she was betrayed by Pei Xian at the time of the ban, many artists gloated and ridiculed her, and she realized how unpopular she was. Now in Tianyi, she regards Sister Meina and the others as friends and doesn't want this to happen again. Li Lei was a little disappointed. "You really don't need it?" "Need not." "Well," he sighed, accepting the fact that he couldn't help, "you have to take good care of yourself," he added, "the things here will be over soon, and I will be back as soon as it is over. Come on, wherever you play, I will watch the live broadcast." Xiaoling agreed and gave him a few words of advice. That day in the bedroom, she rejected his advances, and now she is a little embarrassed when facing him and doesn't know what to say. The two fell silent. Li Lei said good night to her and hung up the phone. Xiaoling is increasingly unsure of how far their relationship will go. Maybe one day it will end because of her unspeakable secrets. She has not been able to completely accept another person, and maybe she will never be able to. This realization makes her feel desolate. She couldn't imagine what she would do if she lost Li Lei. Tossing and turning all night, she went to find Feng Kun the next day. Now, the groups of the Xingyun Song Club have been decided, and each team must hold a pre-war discussion meeting to formulate a battle plan. Xiaoling had to attend even though she had millions of objections. The windows in the conference room are bright and clean. Feng Kun is sitting in the main seat and looking at everyone with a smile. "In the next few days, we will all work together. I hope we can work together to win the Xingyun concert." "It will definitely happen," a singer said. With Feng Kun leading the team, and the Emperor's heavenly king Zheng Qinhao holding the battle, wouldn't it be easy to win? The only variable may be Ye Xingling, who was unlucky enough to be accidentally selected to sing Little Duck. "You have to perform well, you know," Zheng Qinhao showed his big brother style and said to her, "As long as you don't hold back and I am here, our team can win." Xiaoling didn't bother to pay attention to him, and didn't even give him an expression. In her previous life, when she was the Emperor's queen, Zheng Qinhao saw how well behaved she was, serving tea and giving up her seat, and was obedient. She once thought that Zheng Qinhao was really friendly, until she was imprisoned and Xiaoyu listened to the recording for her. Zheng Qinhao said, "Xiaoling, you are so arrogant just because you are favored by your boss. How many notices did you steal from me? You are banned." Good. Only then did she know what he really thought. At this time, she felt that she had been very restrained and just ignored him instead of saying anything sarcastic. "Can you lead the team to victory by yourself? Please, this is a team game. What even she, Xiaoling, can't do, can he do it? It would be too naive." Zheng Qinhao frowned displeased when he saw her like this. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 170. Chapter 170. The Cunning Lord Feng Kun. On the side, a female singer said, "Why are you talking to Brother Zheng? He is the King of Heaven." "Is the King of Heaven great? Let me go to the Easter match." Feng Kun rubbed his eyebrows. He really had a headache. This little girl is so angry that no one can say a word to her. I don't know how she got along with her notoriously vicious tongue in Tianyi and Wei Shaiyin. However, I really miss it. The emperor has a strict hierarchy. Since Xiaoling's death, no one has dared to challenge authority like her. Thinking of this, Feng Kun's eyes softened a little when he looked at her. Calm down, Chen Hao doesn't mean any harm. Now that we're here, let's all cooperate well, he then said to the female singer. We are all in the same team, so don't say a few words. Sentence after saying that, he glanced at Zheng Chenhao with some warning. Anyone with a discerning eye can see who Feng Kun favors. Even Zheng Chenhao didn't dare to offend the top producer in the industry in front of him. He was the former Xiaoling queen. One sentence he said in front of the boss was as good as 10. If he accidentally offended him, I'm afraid he wouldn't even know what to do. The dead ones don't even know. Zheng Chenhao was angry in his heart, but on the surface he smiled calmly. I'm just kindly reminding you, I really don't mean any harm. The female singer saw that his attitude softened, and thinking that she should be more aware of the current situation, she silently shut up and stopped talking. Xiaoling was very disappointed. Just when a quarrel was about to break out, Feng Kun actually ran out to break up the fight and put out the fire. Bastard, why is this man's temper still as good-natured and mellow as before? Her hopes of being kicked out of the Easter match were shattered again. Xiaoling unhappily took a small teaspoon and poked the tea leaves hard. Feng Kun narrowed his eyes slightly. Her little movements really looked like the girl in her memory. He lowered his eyes, concealed the strangeness in his eyes, and distributed a few pieces of paper and a few pens to everyone. Everyone knows the rules of the Xingyun Song Club, that is, you cannot sing your own songs in the competition. You must sing other people's songs. The song range has also been defined by the competition. There are more than 300 songs to choose from. Now, I need you to write down the 10 songs that you are best at and the 10 songs that you are least good at. Then we will discuss how to arrange the songs. Array. No one had any objections, so they started writing as soon as they got paper and pen. Xiaoling was still immersed in a little unhappiness, so she casually wrote a song "Summer with Blooming Flowers" on the paper. Thinking about it, it felt wrong. Isn't this a song she liked very much in her previous life? The pen in his hand paused slightly. However, it is too late to change. She simply stopped writing and carefully studied the song list before slowly selecting 9 songs that she could sing in this life but didn't like very much in her previous life. I carefully selected 10 songs that I was not good at and had nothing to do with my likes and dislikes in my previous life. Feng Kun seemed calm and harmonious, but in fact he had been observing Xiaoling calmly. He paused when he saw her finish writing the first song. He studied the song list for a while before continuing to write, so he silently paid attention to it. After everyone had finished writing, he collected the song list and looked at it. His heart skipped a beat when he saw that the first song she sang was "Summer in Blooming Flowers." The next 19 songs have nothing to do with Xiaoling. Is it really just a coincidence? Feng Kun calmly put away the papers and continued to hold a war meeting with everyone. After the meeting, Feng Kun took the stack of papers home and pulled out the one belonging to Xiaoling. This handwriting is too similar. Feng Kun rummaged eagerly in a cabinet at home to find the manuscript left by Xiaoling before his death, and compared the same Chinese characters one by one: Xia, Sheng, Hua, Yan. Every word is exactly the same. Hands trembling slightly, he opened a small box on the table. In the small box, there is a screenshot of his signature taken from the Xingyun Song Concert red carpet signature plate. The 3 characters Yexing Ling were cut into 3 pieces of paper. There are also 3 pieces of paper copied from Xiaoling's lifetime manuscript. The words leaf, star, and are printed out. Some time ago, he sent these 3 characters to 3 different handwriting appraisers. The 3 appraisers came to the conclusion that it was the handwriting of the same person. Feng Kun's hands shook even more, and he did the same with the 20 song titles he received this time. He found the corresponding characters from Xiaoling's manuscript, divided them into several parts, and sent them to different handwriting appraisers. Send mail. His mood could not be calm for a long time. If the handwriting this time is exactly the same, what does it mean? Could there really be two people in the world who are completely similar, not only speaking and moving, but even handwriting are exactly the same? Or are they originally the same person? Reincarnation? However, Xiaoling passed away more than a year ago, and Ye Xingling was already 18 or 19 years old. Feng Kun sat in front of the workbench and looked at the contradictory handwriting for a long time. Suddenly, he stood up and dialed a phone. "Old Chen? I have something to entrust you with. Please help me find a person named Ye Xingling Singer, a year ago, no, 2 years ago, no matter what manuscripts I wrote, whether they are school assignments, lyrics, or autographs, send them to me, the more the better. This is a friend of his who runs a private detective agency, which is perfect for investigating this kind of thing." Feng Kun was filled with hope and fear in her heart. What should she do if it was really her? What if it wasn't her? Xiaoling was completely unaware of all this. When writing the song title, she focused all her attention on the song itself, trying not to let Feng Kun see the similarities in preferences between her and her previous life, but ignored the handwriting itself. Those years when she was favored by Pei Ziyan, she didn't need to use any brains or tricks, and now she is favored by Li Lei, which really confirms what Li Lei said when he took her to the amusement park. It was silly. How can one outwit Feng Kun, who is known for his meticulous work? The silly little Xiaoling was meeting with her team to formulate strategies as usual. She had no idea that Master Feng Kun was looking at her more and more strangely. This day is the You Click Me to Sing session of the Xingyun singing group competition. As the name suggests, one singer designates a song and asks another singer to sing it. It's Xiaoling's turn to come on stage. It's Ye Xingling. Her rival team was discussing countermeasures in low voices. What song should we assign to her? Of course it's that one of them said in a low voice. Didn't I tell you that last time I overheard Feng Kun on the phone and said that Ye Xingling has been practicing the songs on the playlist recently? All the songs are more or less certain, but the one I can't sing well is that one. Which song is that? Stupid, caged butterfly. End of this chapter.